So, welcome everyone. Today we will be talking about King the Wildfire, his race, maybe some stuff about his origins, and really just having fun talking about them. This is not a theory video, this is not me, explaining to you what you missed and all the things that are true about King. It's just us having fun talking about maybe some of the origins, some ideas Oda that Oda had, or some places that may have inspired him. I don't know. Discussing that whole topic. And feel free to chime in if you have theories, speculation, stuff that you think would be fun, stuff that you think maybe Oda was going for this kind of thing. Feel free to comment all and any of that down in the comment section below, and let's just enjoy this. Now, as far as stuff before we start the video, of course, for spoilers, guys, just check in the description. If you're not up to date, if you are an anime watcher, anything, if you're not up to date with the manga and for any reason, just check the description below to know where you need to be to watch this video without any spoilers. But if you're up to date, or if you're a daredevil, or you check the description and it's all good, or you just don't care, then let's begin. So first thing is that Lunarians, I think for the most part it's safe to say that they're some kind of sky race. Falls in line with everything that we've just the way they look. Of course, the wing color is different and the size of their wings is not the regular size that we've seen, but it feels like it's a safe assumption. Also, the name Lunarian kind of implies something to do with the moon, so them maybe even coming from the moon makes sense. Now, we're not going to go deep into how it will make sense given the fact that we had Enel's cover story that only showed 3 races and none of them had wings like King. We're not going to get into that, but it's definitely possible. I mean, there's possibility that there were multiple moons and now, not all of them exist anymore. There's only one. There's a possibility that, Burka, which was shown in Enel's cover story, is just one of multiple cities on the moon. There's different possibilities we could use. Even the space pirates are an enigma. So there's so many ways this could be true, but I feel safe saying that they're some kind of sky people. But I'm not going to stop there. I'm going to go out on a limb and say they are possibly even the leaders of the sky people. I like this idea because we know that the Lunarians were considered as gods. They lived on top of the red line. Possibly them being the leader of the sky people connected the people in the blue sea to the people in the sky islands, right? Because the top of the red line is not quite Sky Island level, but it's also not Blue Sea level, possibly having that mediation in between them. I like that idea as well. But the reason why I like this idea of them being the leader of the sky people is because, one, without them, that would explain why the sky, people in the sky don't have contact with people in the Blue Sea, because they're mediators of God. But also because they were considered gods and they were the leaders is why the sky people today now call their leader God. Because it's kind of taken from that idea that their previous leaders were essentially gods. It would also make sense as to, maybe not make sense because it already makes sense, but add another layer to the fact that Enel had this kind of god complex in which he couldn't be defeated, he couldn't be killed, he could just bounce back from anything, because as we've been told and explained thoroughly with King, is that these guys can survive any environment, right? Any environment you throw them in, they can survive it. And maybe that's what Enel thought that he had achieved back in the Skypiea arc, right? So based on all of this, I really like the idea that the Lunarians were the leaders of the sky people. Whether they were the leaders of the sky people back on the moon, whether the leaders of the sky people only when they came to the earth, I don't care. But on the earth, definitely, I think I like the idea that they were the leaders, and that's where the Skypians got the title of God. But not just the sky people. I think that I'm liking, or I'm trying to figure out a bit more what's going on with the similarities, because there are clear similarities, especially with the Shandians. Just looking at Wiper and King, the way their hair is, the tattoos on the side of their faces. One has dark hair and white wings, the other have light white hair and dark wings. So there's a bit of opposites going on there, but very interesting nonetheless. The Shandians also managed to survive and acclimatize themselves to everything that was going on with the people in the sky. And Lunarians can do the same. Maybe these Shandians are kind of like a watered down version of the Lunarians, possibly, you know, mixing blood with sky people for years and years and years, and that's how you end up with Shandians. Possibly, maybe there's something else to do there. I don't know. Let me know how you guys feel. I just feel like there could be something a bit more than what we're looking at. I mean, also the tattoos on the sides of their faces, you know, maybe the Shandians ones is a less detailed version of what we got on the side of King's face as well. So these guys will, you know, maybe it's like branch families and then there's the main family of Lunarians. Who knows? Who really knows? But moving on to a bit more of the fun speculation and origin of, like, you know, the character designs and everything. One thing that I did like, one idea that I was really hoping may be true. I didn't think it was definitely going to be true or most likely true. I just thought it was a great and fun possibility. But that was, you know, comparing King and the Lunarians to other series, right? Because there is a character in Fire Punch, well, the main character in Fire Punch is always on fire, right? And I liked the fact that King was always on fire, and we didn't quite understand what was going on there. So I thought it may be similar, right? Now in Fire Punch, the way it works is that the character is always on fire because of, you know, he's got great healing, and there's another character who kind of just set him on fire with a fire that never goes out. So he's always just healing and being burnt and healing and being burnt, right? Which made sense given the fact that the Lunarians can survive any environment you put them in. So the fact that, you know, King could always be burning but then healing himself and then using the flames to his advantage, like the character in Fire Punch does, would, like, that idea on its own would have been crazy, and I loved it. Maybe that's why he wears the suit. I mean, you'd also understand, like, if you've seen the character in Fire Punch and what he actually looks like, you know, King wearing a suit would completely make sense as to what's going on there. But I mean, that was dismissed this recent chapter because we looked at him when he was a young kid, and he's clearly just had that fire there, and it's not burning him. He's just okay. But I like the idea because, one, it's just a really cool way to have, you know, a character exist. But also, it gives rise to so many other possibilities if we meet another Lunarian in the series by any chance, that they may have something else going on, right? Because maybe it's just they have great healing, but, you know, maybe instead of fire, they have some other thing going on, maybe with a devil fruit, maybe with another element. No idea, but the possibilities then increase as to what may be going on. But the fire route, I like it still. I still like it. It still works well. It's just, you know, this recent chapter has kind of dismissed that idea before. And so now I am on to a new idea, and that is the idea that King in particular is very similar to a certain character in Fire Force named Charon. Now, for those of you who have watched Fire Force, you know who I'm talking about, and maybe the light bulbs are now turning on in your head. But if you don't, and maybe some of you are like, I've watched Fire Force, but I don't remember who Charon is. He is the character who is a guardian to one of the pillars. I cannot remember which pillar it is, but similarities start off first of all with the way they look. Both Charon and King are dark-skinned characters with white hair. So right there, let's just, yeah. And Fire Force being an anime and series about characters who use fire, I'm sure you can tell where this is going. We're going to talk about King's abilities. Now in this chapter, Zoro kind of explained that basically when he has a fire on his back, his defenses are super high, but his speed is just, I guess, regular level for King. Although when the fire goes into him, I guess, then his defenses decrease, but to, I guess, regular level, and then his speed increases to a whole new level, right? So that's kind of the idea we've gotten in the most recent chapter. But on the other hand, you have Charon, who essentially, what he can do is that, and a couple of spoilers, I will say, for Fire Force, but Charon, basically the way his abilities work is that he does absorb impact that is, from his enemies and their attacks, and then he uses that as firepower in his attacks, right? So the long-winded kind of version of this is that you potentially have a situation in which you could say that Oda was kind of inspired by this, right? Maybe what King does is not that. On one hand, you could say the fire going into him is what's, speeding him up, igniting him. Or you could look at it as maybe there's part of it to an extent, which is, the attacks that he gains, right? The fire helps turn that into a different kind of energy, which speeds him up. I feel like there is something to say there. It's a fun speculation. Again, this whole video is not theory about what's definitely going on. It's just fun speculation as to some of the ideas Oda may have had when doing the characters. But I like point is very great, very many similarities between just the way Karen is and the way he operates, just even the interactions during their fights and the characters who fought them and how they figured out how their enemy and opponent's abilities work. Many similarities there. I like it. But yeah, these are all the ideas I have for King right now. Let me know if you have any other fun ideas, any other series or characters you'd like to compare him to. Maybe say that's where some ideas for King came from, and all the like. As always, guys, please like the video if you like the video and subscribe for more content like this. If you know someone who needs to hear the truth about some of the ideas that we have here, share this video with them. If you have time, watch one more other videos, and if not, thank you for watching this video to the end, guys. This is King KZ, and I'll see you in the next one.